For more on what's next for Iran after that mass unrest drew a bloody crackdown, senior fellow at the Washington Institute, Holly Dagres, joins me now. Holly, based on what we saw over the last several weeks, do you think the regime in Iran ever could truly be on the brink of collapse?
Thank you for having me, Andrew. It already is, and it does. When we talk about collapse, it doesn't mean that a regime actually no longer exists. It means that they've checked certain boxes. That means that they're no longer able to sustain the way that they used to exist. There was a great piece in The Atlantic by a fellow Iran expert, Karim Sajatpour, and Jack Goldstone, and I would say an academic and expert on revolutions and uprisings. And they said that for the first time since the 1979 revolution, the Islamic Republic had checked all 5 boxes for collapse. And that just happened over the past few weeks. So I think that's where we're at. This is a regime that's crossed a threshold with these massacres. You noted in your reporting that thousands were killed. There's credible documentation that suggests that those numbers are in the 12,000 plus range.
And so what conditions need to exist for an actual political or governmental shift to happen?
Well, it's a very complicated situation we're in because right now we're not exactly sure what the United States intends to do. I know we noted that President Donald Trump said that the hangings have stopped. I wasn't exactly sure what he meant by the 800. I'm not sure where that number came from. But some of us speculate that this could be a bluff of some sort until assets come to the region that are able to defend U.S. allies in the region in the event that something were to happen. So I think that will really determine where things go with Iran if that were to happen in the coming week.
And speaking of the White House, recently the Trump administration says that it's imposing sanctions on Iran over its crackdown on these anti-government protesters, specifically people they say are the architects responsible for attacks against demonstrators. Do you think that actually moves the needle at all in deterring the regime in Iran from doing this again if more protests spark up?
Well, I would say the Islamic Republic of Iran is probably the most heavily sanctioned country in the world, and it hasn't deterred them from killing protesters before. I would say this is an important symbolic gesture, but it's not enough. I think if they really wanted to help protesters, there's so many ways and means. There's something called direct to cell, which connects mobile phones that are 2020 model onwards to Starlink, because there's been an internet shutdown imposed since January 8th. It used to be a communication shutdown, but they turned those landlines on earlier this week. So there are options. I would say that the international community, led by the United States, because there's no embassy in Tehran, should be withdrawing ambassadors and go beyond that. They should be calling for a democratic transition in the country, which is something the Iranian people have aspired to for a long time and why they're out on the streets.
Holly Dagres, we thank you for your time.